The latest update to No Man's Sky has brought ship building and customization to the game. You can now build your own ship, a new class of ship called the Corvette. There's interiors that you can build out and walk around as you are flying in autopilot, and it is a complete game changer to the game, if you ask me. And it kind of changes the way that I play the game, but it's also changed the way that I'm thinking about the game for the future. So this is a video about my wish list for the game, things I'd like to see them add to the Corvettes specifically in the future. Now, I have no doubt that Hello Games are going to add more features for the Corvettes and even more features to the game in general. But here is my wish list of things I'd like to see added. The first one might seem a bit obvious and might seem a bit inevitable as well, but it's actually more parts and more finishing parts for the Corvettes in general. More modules is always better, and I have no doubt they're going to fill these spaces with more modules for us to use. I'm specifically thinking about the finishing modules here. So you've got a lot of these sort of structural decoration parts in wings, hull plating and hull connectors, but I would like some flatter finishing panels. So for example, at the front of my Starship here, you can see I've got my habitation units, and there's a 7 and the Corvette decoration in front of it with a radar on there. I would like a little flat finishing panel on here just to cover this up, just to make it nice and neat. I do like the aesthetics here, of course, of the hab outside, but if I wanted to have it sort of like a nice clean finish, we could perhaps have a panel on that could go on there. You could also have panels for the side, maybe they slope off a little bit rather than having these sorts of big chunky sloping panels, if you like. They're not really panels, are they? But like a thinner panel that would just go down nice and gently to the bottom there. Don't get me wrong, I think that the current modules give you a really good base in which to build a crazy Corvette. I really like my one here. It's not the biggest, but it's also not the clunkiest, and it has super firepower, which I really like. But yeah, just some finishing panels I think would be great added to the modules of the Corvette. The second thing I'd like to see added is actually exclusive weapons. Now, we do have a photon cannon and a phase beam you can put on as part of the modules for your Corvette, and there's also this Deadeye cannon which you can get from completing Expedition 19 Corvette, and it does look really cool. I absolutely love the cannon, although it's not firing properly at the moment for some reason. I don't know where it's firing out of. Something's going on there, bit of a glitch. Nonetheless, I like the look of it. However, when you fit it, you get the positron injector, which is weird because it's supposed to be like a precise bit of firepower, if you like. Now, I've got the infraknife accelerator, and of course I've got the photon cannon here, which I can't get rid of, even though I don't have a photon cannon fitted, and I obviously can't get rid of the positron ejector as well. So I also would like to get rid of those, so I can have the extra space. But I'd also like to see different upgrades. So we're using the same kind of upgrades that you get, well, actually we're using the exact same upgrades you get from the Starship. So the infraknife accelerator is a Starship weapon, so is the positron, and so is the photon. But I'd like to see in the future some actual specific weapons for the Corvette that kind of make sense. And look at where it's shooting from. Where is that shooting from? All the way down there. Yeah, definitely got a glitch going on there. Another thing I'd like to see is inside docking for freighters. I'd also like landing pads for bases and landing pads for settlements as well. Now, I know you can hover over and beam down, and I absolutely love that functionality, but just having my Corvette docked in a proper landing pad at my base or inside my freighter rather than outside and at my settlement would just be great for, say, I don't know, photos perhaps, and ease of use as well. That's something I'd really like to see. I don't mind this landing situation. You know, you beam into the freighter itself, but at the same time, there's a few problems. I think people are warping with their Corvette on the freighter, and it's disappearing or being left behind or some such. So yeah, there is a few problems there. I don't mind this at all. This is fine beaming down. I don't know that they'll ever put a true landing pad in the freighter for the Corvette, but I think that they should add one for the base and the settlement, definitely. And if they can have it in space stations, then they can have it in freighters as well, as far as I'm aware. I reloaded my save and the glitch has sorted itself out. So it does look really cool coming out of the Deadeye cannon there. I really do like it. Definitely something that I enjoy. Next on the list is something that I think a lot of players have been suggesting would be a great idea. And that is having NPC or multiplayer roles within your Corvette. So you could have gunner stations. So somebody could go up into a module for my Deadeye cannon, for example, and fire the Deadeye cannon, which at the moment doesn't move or turn on its base. It's just straight. But that would be really cool if you could have either an NPC or your friends sitting in some sort of weapon module and using it to fight in space battles. I have used this particular Corvette in space battles in anger, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'd love it if I could have a couple more weapons, or maybe on the sides or at the rear, that a friend of mine could get in and join in the battle. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. I'm not sure that any other roles would be would work. I think the gunner is the main one that would work. Let me know in the comments if there's any others that would work in terms of a multiplayer or a NPC role that they could kind of function throughout a Corvette when you're sort of playing in multiplayer or otherwise. Number 5 on my list of things I'd like to add to Corvettes is something that I have mentioned before, and that is having an Exocraft module for your Corvette. Now, some people do not like the Exocrafts. They do not use them. They think they're useless. I love my Roma. It's fully kitted out. I use it for exploring worlds. Yes, it has its problems. Yes, it's not perfect, but for me, I really enjoy using it. And I think that having a module for the Corvette where you have your Exocraft actually sitting inside your Corvette and you're able to then roll it out, actually physically roll it out of a door on your Corvette, or having the Nautilon drop out into an ocean world, just fills me with glee for some reason. Maybe it's a nostalgic thing for Thunderbirds, who knows. But I know you can have 3 different type of summoners for your Corvette, and you can just get out and summon them on a world or on a water world. But it doesn't have the same kind of, I don't know, fun aspect or same kind of nostalgic thing that I would want to see as just sort of summoning your Corvette out of nowhere. Actually, your Roma out of nowhere. And actually having your Roma sitting in, or your Nautilon, or whatever it is, whichever one, sitting in your Corvette, ready to be used. Not just as decoration, but actually there, ready to be used, to be rolled out onto a planet or dropped into a sea. I would just love to see that. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. It would also add more engagement with the Exocraft, maybe. I know that some people, in one of my other videos, which got a lot of feedback, and I do very much appreciate that, said that they either still use them or they don't. It's a fun aspect, and No Man's Sky is a game where you can do whatever you like. That's what it's there for. That's really my primary love for this game, is that I can do whatever I want. I can use whatever I want to have fun, and that's what a game's all about, right? But some people still don't use them, so maybe having them in a Corvette like that will give them a bit of love and a bit of life back into the Exocraft for some players. Following on from the Exocraft module, what else I'd like to see is a Starship module for your Corvette. Maybe you could have a little hangar, or maybe it could be on a pad on the outside of your Corvette, and it could be like your Starship, or it could be a friend's Starship or an NPC Starship as well. And when you fly your Corvette, it's going to have to be a big one, isn't it, to have both a Exocraft module and a Starship module fitted. But if you had a big enough one that you could put them on, let's say you jump into a system in your Corvette and you have a pirate situation going on, you could jump out of your cockpit of your Corvette into your smaller fighter, because I know that some of you are still using these for fighting because their maneuverability is much better in terms of dogfighting, which I understand. And yeah, you could jump out of your cockpit of your Corvette, go into your, or outside of your Starship module, get into your Starship, and then go and fight that way. Or your friends could jump into their Starships and start helping by fighting the little other Starships from the pirates and things like that. I think that would just be absolutely fantastic. What immersion that would bring to the game. What use for the wonderful light Starships, or fighters, whatever you want to call them now. what a way to bring them back into the game a bit more, because I know that people are saying that they're still using their Starship, but I think over time the Corvette is just going to take over. So I think having something like that would be great. And last but not least, I think I would like to have the same kind of customization that you have with your Corvette, with your Starship, your Exocraft and your freighter. This might be pushing it out a little bit, and this might be something we may not see for many, many years. I think being able to customize your Starship, Exocraft and freighter the same way you do a Corvette would just bring so much more personalization to them. Even though I do think these Starships are absolutely beautiful, especially the ones you can make, I think that being able to customize them the same way as the Corvettes would just be better than the way that you make them now, because the way that you make them now isn't complete customization, I guess might be the right way to say it. I think that would bring life to both the Starship, the Exocraft and the freighter. I mean, imagine being able to build your own freighter. I guess in a way you can kind of do that with the Corvette. Maybe you build it big enough, large enough to have the freighter or the Corvette as big, or it's not going to be as big, but still big enough that it's almost like you're flying a freighter, because obviously you can't fly them at the moment. Imagine the creations that players would make having their own massive freighter, then their own Corvette to ease of discovery, then having the Exocraft and Starships even aboard your Corvette that you can just take out or fly away on to make exploration of planets and dogfights even better. And I do know that yes, there is a landing bay in your freighter where you dock your Starships at the moment, but I don't think it would be the same, because when you warp your freighter, you're warping into a system, you generally don't get all those fights, the pirate fights or the dreadnought fights. They may happen from time to time. I haven't really had any. Let me know if you have or haven't. It'll be interesting to know. But yeah, I think that would bring a level of immersion to the game that would be fantastic. So there you go, guys. That is 7 things that I would like to bring to the Corvettes in the future. Let me know what you think. Do you think they are crazy ideas? Do you think they're good ideas? Let me know of any ideas that you had that I didn't say, because I think it'll be really interesting to see what other people would like to bring to these Corvettes in the future. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care out there. Bye bye.